Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing one of my favorite designs, my Gypsy Leopard cup. This is one of my first tutorials I ever uploaded to the channel. So if you guys haven't seen that very first video, I'm going to pull it back up and link it in the description box for you to watch it. It's a 3-part video and I was obviously very new to YouTube. Now I've since done a couple of Gypsy Leopard videos on the channel, but I think I needed an updated one for 2024. Okay, it's been a while and my best friend sells glitter now and her glitter is absolutely gorgeous. So I wanted to showcase those glitters in this video today. I'm working with a cup that I just had laying around my shop. It was already spray painted black, and so I taped off the bottom and I'm going to base color this for the leopard swirl. So we're going to start with the metallic gold because that's going to be our most prominent color in the swirl. And I'm going to try and make the swirl angled enough to where you can see the beginning and the end all from one side of the cup. So if we were looking at it straight on in front, we'd see the beginning and the end all at once. So a very tight angle. Next, I'm going to add in Harvest Grape, and we're just going to spray that right alongside the gold swirl. For our accent swirl pieces, I'm going to be using Ocean Mist. And I'm just going to do little tiny dashes between the gold and the plum color. You may need to go back in with the gold and the plum if you oversprayed with the Ocean Mist color. As soon as my spray paint was dry to the touch, I'm ready to apply my epoxy to adhere my glitter. I'm using my Fast Cure epoxy today, and I just mixed a very small amount. We're going to be using probably less than 5 milliliters on our cup today. The goal is to get everything coated really evenly, but also really thinly so that we don't have any dripping or lines. These are all the glitters that I'm going to be using. I will have these listed and linked down below in the description box. You might even find a discount code for you there as well. I'm going to start with Rain. This is a beautiful gold custom mix, and I'm going to sprinkle that pretty lightly through our entire gold section. We don't want to aim for full coverage just yet. We're working on what's kind of like the rough draft of our swirl. Lightly laying out all the colors and establishing a blend, and then we'll build up coverage as we go, layering all the colors together. Here we are going in with Sky, that beautiful like pastel mint green. I'm just sprinkling that into our accent color pieces. Then I'm going to sprinkle in Salem very lightly here. I'm just kind of dashing this in here and there to add some depth to this kind of plum purple section. Next, I'm going in with Saphire, which is this beautiful kind of fuchsia purple red mix. And next, my favorite color out of all of these is Majesty. This purple is absolutely stunning. It has a really beautiful shift to it. Probably my favorite color on this cup. And you guys, I'm just really building coverage as I go, kind of blending where I need to blend. I'm not sprinkling on too much glitter at a time, so I didn't put away the excess glitter on my little parchment paper down there like I normally would. This also kind of saves me some time. But anyway, here's what we got. I'm going to let this dry for about an hour and a half. Your dry time may vary based on the type and brand of epoxy that you're using. I'm going to aggressively tap off all the excess glitter, and now we're going to paint on the rosettes for our leopard spot. One Coat Wonder glue from Cal & Grace Designs. I will link this glue down in the description box, but I like this glue because it's nice and thick, it has a great hold, and it truly is one coat coverage. I'm going to paint on my rosettes just with this kind of old angled brush that I have, all going in the same kind of direction with the swirl. Once I have all my rosettes painted on, I'm going to sprinkle on the brown glitter. This is Monarch, also from Batty Glitter. Once we've got everything covered, I'm going to aggressively tap off the excess glitter, and we're going to let this dry for about a half hour before we move on to the next step. Next, we're going to be painting on the black part of our leopard spots using the same glue and the same brush. I'm going to pounce the spots around the brown rosettes that we just created. Try to be as organic as possible when you're creating your pouncing lines around the rosettes so it's not too perfect. So I've got my spots painted on. I'm going to sprinkle on my glitter. I'm using Nightmare, also from Batty Glitter, and I thought it was the perfect black for this color combo. I'm going to let this dry for at least an hour before I aggressively tapped off the excess glitter, brushed off any excess black glitter really carefully, and then I went over to my spray booth to spray seal this with Rust-Oleum 2 times clear gloss spray paint, and I let that clear gloss seal everything in for a good 45 minutes before we applied our first coat of epoxy to this, which I forgot to film, but I applied 30 milliliters of my Artist Cure epoxy right over the top of all that glitter after the sealer dried, and we let that first coat dry for about 6 to 8 hours before we moved on to this step. Here I have 60 milliliters of epoxy already mixed. I'm probably not going to use all of that, but we're just going to apply our clear coat first, which will be about 20 milliliters. It's important we don't apply too much to this step. And we're going to hit it with our torch to pop any excess bubbles. This will be the only time we want to apply heat to the cup from this point forward while we're applying our colorants. I'm taking the remainder of our epoxy and I'm dividing it up amongst 3 different cups for our colorants. The teal color is going to come from this Color Shot spray paint, and I'm actually going to spray paint that directly into our epoxy here. Just a couple sprays, not too much. If you do too much, your epoxy will never cure properly, but just a little bit of some well shaken spray paint, that's the key. Shake it very well, and we can make some beautiful colors in our epoxy, and it's super quick and easy. Of course, you can also use acrylic paint for a similar look. This is a mica that I got from Simply Sarah Custom Creations. This is a lane. We're going to mix just a pea-size amount in there. And for the gold, I'm using Davis from Nicole Merritt Original. I will have these all listed and linked in the description box as well. Once we have our colorants mixed in, I'm going to use some popsicle sticks to apply it to my cup, starting with the teal lines first that we made with the spray paint. I'm going to just very carefully traipse a line of that epoxy through our swirl here, being careful not to drizzle too much. If I do too much, I just kind of scoop it out. And then I'm going to take a silicone brush tool to kind of manipulate that colorant in the epoxy and make my lines look a little more organic and fun and kind of swirl them around. I'm going to go in next with the Elaine colorant, and I'm going to put that right alongside the teal that we just applied earlier. I'm using my Artist Cure epoxy, so we have plenty of time to work here. The pot life on my Artist Cure epoxy is about 45 minutes. After I applied the Elaine colorant in the lines that I'm happy with, I went in with the gold. This is Davis from Nicole Merritt Original, and I'm applying this one with a really fine tipped silicone brush. Alternatively, you could use a toothpick or something, but I really want to finely vein in that gold. I don't want it to take over the cup. So less is more with that gold. Again, if I happen to add in too much, I will scoop it out with a clean gloved finger or a clean popsicle stick. Continue to manipulate the colorants with my silicone brushes until I was happy with the look that I got. And then I'm going to add in some glitter. This is a really beautiful blue iridescent chunky mix called Dreaming of You from Batty Glitter, and we're just going to hand sprinkle that in kind of along the lines of those teal colors that we added in, but you could really sprinkle it in wherever. I just think it adds a lot of depth and a nice detail and really rounds out the design nicely. Once I was done with this, I let this dry for about 6 to 8 hours before we moved on to the next step. It's been drying for over 12 hours now, so I'm ready to start sanding. I'm going to do my normal sanding routine around the top rim. I'm using a 60 grit sanding block, and I'm going to aggressively sand down to expose a fine line of stainless steel around that top rim. This is where our final coats of epoxy will adhere to create the final seal for our tumbler on the outer rim of the cup rather than the very top rim where it's more vulnerable. I'm also going to sand down any pokey bits along the side. Once I'm done, I'm going to clean this up with some rubbing alcohol and paper towel. Keep in mind that when we added in the colorants, we added in a lot of waves to our epoxy. So the finish is not going to be smooth. And if you're going to be applying a decal that really requires a smooth surface and no wrinkles or bumps, I would do another coat of epoxy over that colorant layer just to ensure it's smooth enough for your decal. Luckily, my colorant layer wasn't too wavy or bumpy, so I was able to put my decal on right away. I cut this using some textured metallic gold vinyl that I really like. I think I got it from Tech Wrap. I will link it in the description box. This is my logo, Flynn Sisters. Whoop, whoop. Okay, so I'm just going to apply it with the hinge method like I normally would. And then we're ready for our final coat of epoxy. I'm not going to seal my decal because it's just pretty basic and it's adhered really well there. I am going to go over my cup with a tack cloth to clear away any kind of lint or debris. I've got 30 milliliters of my Artist Cure epoxy that I've already mixed, and I'm going to apply it like I normally would. You'll notice that I didn't tape off the bottom for my final coat. That's because I'm going to bring the epoxy down below my tape line, and then I'll wipe away any excess once I'm done with some rubbing alcohol and a paper towel. I'm going to hit this with my torch to pop any excess bubbles, and that is it. This was actually done in like 3 coats of epoxy, which I was super impressed with. I don't think I've ever got one of these done in just 3 coats, but it was perfectly smooth. I had so much great coverage, and that's really the advantage of using a thicker epoxy. I know if you're not used to a thick viscosity formula, it could be a bit of a learning curve. I know that it was for me personally, but once you can overcome that thickness and some of the bubbles and the nuances that come with thicker epoxies, you really get great results with so much less work and time because it's so much thicker, and you get great, beautiful, clear, beautiful, shiny coverage. At least I do. I hope you do too. Let me know what you guys thought about this video and this design. If you make an OG Gypsy Leopard, please be sure to tag me. I can't wait to see them. These are my favorite cups of all time. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I upload new videos every week, most of the time when I have time and I'm not super busy with the supply shop. But I love you guys. Thanks for being patient with me, and I'll see you next time. Thank you to all of our Flynn Sisters exclusive members. Thank you for your pledge. Your support means the world to our channel. If you love this video, you could check out our last video here. Also be sure to find us on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and of course subscribe for all our new videos that come out every Wednesday and Saturday. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.